I could begin with some introduction, perhaps giving a brief survey of the book's content and my thoughts before delving into more. However, I would prefer to start with a phrase, then passage taken directly from Einstein's dreams. Imagine a world in which there is no time, only images. An osprey framed in the sky, its wings outstretched, the sun rays piercing between feathers. A young boy sitting in an empty auditorium, his heart racing as if he were on stage. Footprints in snow on a winter island. A boat on the water at night, its lights dim in the distance, like a small red star in the black sky. A locked cabinet of pills. A leaf on the ground in autumn, red and golden brown, delicate. A woman crouching in the bushes, waiting by the house of her estranged husband, whom she must talk to. And you have just imagined it. Perhaps you have felt, too, the distinct world in which each of those images encompasses. Perhaps just a glimpse of those worlds has grazed you, then, like a stroke of paint atop another, moved on to the next image, and then the next, that the feeling from the previous images remain in endless coats and coats of color and emotion across your heart. Einstein's Dreams by Alan Lightman is a fictional novel about unique experiences. Alike and heavily inspired by the break from coherence and adoption of fabulation common in postmodern works, most notably inspired by Italo Calvino's Invisible Cities and Cosmocomics, where both the idea of playing with temporality, or time, and really other realities was at its height, Einstein's Dreams takes us to deeply detailed worlds that are literally of dreams. Einstein's dreams, as a matter of fact. To elaborate, although the novel was not written within the zenith of the postmodernist movement, it is clear that it is a work strongly inspired by it. In the era challenging preconceived literary traditions, it was the movement that rejected a solid, straightforward, and simply real world, and instead it turned to focus on possible realities, as it toyed with abstract and surreal ideas as if they were clear to the eye. This is exactly what Alan Lightman does in Einstein's Dreams. He simply describes the many hypothetical dreams of Einstein as he researches relativity, and these dreams are often of some concept of time, which Lightman twists and turns and molds into something tangible. In this novel, sometimes time stops completely, all is frozen. Sometimes time recurs forever, infinitely. It is a circle bending back on itself. Sometimes time is perceptible like an ingredient, as a scent, taste, sensation. Sometimes time is an entity to lean on, to shelter oneself in, even to pray to, like religion, for time is the only stable notion that courses through the unpredictable world. And sometimes time does not exist at all. How absurd, yet each of these dreams are as vivid and creative as time can get, and in them individuals live, thrive, suffer just like we do. So do cities, worlds, whole universes. Indeed, they live differently than we do, but when you approach these worlds and concepts, dwell on them and ruminate on them like Alan Lightman has prompted us to do, you realize that all of the beings and objects and ideas in these worlds have a profound philosophy to themselves, which, when juxtaposed with our own notion of time and reality, has quite some value. You see, time alters our thoughts, emotions, autonomy, but maybe even our own notion of time is as abstract as those in Einstein's dreams, but we are just accustomed to it. How are we restricted by time or really any natural law, this novel asks? And although these concepts may seem disingenuous to science, maybe, just maybe, that is how theories are created. They start off as some abstract and faraway idea or even dream, and coagulate into some rich theory teeming with potential. But you do not need to understand even a sliver of science or really any academic discipline to grasp this novel. In fact, there is some serious enjoyment in just going along with the flow, or lack thereof, of the stories, just experiencing the wave of lyricism and sheer creativity as it passes over you. And I am not exaggerating. The blend of prose and vision is quite something to behold, and each vignette is drenched in poetic language that will coax the mind into another cage of temporal possibility that is somehow less limiting than the earthly cognizance we have. Thank you, Alan Lightman. I cannot think of many more writers able to capture such abstract concepts of time in such a whimsical but real way, sometimes emotional, sometimes heavy, sometimes comical, but always artful in its scope and imagination. The reader even meets Einstein on occasional little interludes, and his fictional thought process makes the work even more fascinating. But truthfully, Einstein is not the main character. Time is. Ultimately, this novel is witty, almost in a manipulative way, like time itself. It shares some provocative commentary on our understanding of, well, everything, and in each of its stories this idea is established more and more powerfully. However, it may even blur and confuse the mind to a greater extent as we become aware of our own lack of awareness when it comes to these topics. Moreover, the novel is a testament to Einstein, to his vision, as well as to science and its reciprocity with creativity. Yes, it is a brilliant work that tampers with the fantastical, the almost real, and all that is in between with an unending imagination. I can almost guarantee that each story will leave the reader in awe. Being a part of the most theoretical yet engrossing conjectures is something that cannot be experienced in the same manner elsewhere. It left me in a trance, delightfully dizzy, and in the end, meditating on how the beauty of the universe works as it does.